In Trinidad and Tobago, you are only legally married if your ceremony was performed in the presence of a justice of peace or a civil ceremony or a church ceremony, and thereafter the documents were registered in the court and you have a marriage certificate in the name of both parties. If you do not have that, as much as we say you introduce a gentleman you're living with as my partner, my husband, he is really just your common law spouse, which is a totally different designation from being legally, lawfully married. But we forget lawfully and legally and we just say husband.
Right. Okay. That is very interesting. So again, so you are only qualified for divorce if you are legally married.
Very good point. And that's exactly what it is.
Right. And so what this is a brilliant question. I think a lot of our audiences have. What are some of the reasons, or what is the number one reason you think that people may get divorced?
But Mr. 𝗚𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗴𝗲, I'm sure you can answer. What do you think? Let's ask it this way. What brought them together? What brought them together?
Well, I would like to say love.
Right. So therefore then what will put them apart?
Lack thereof.
End of story.
End of story.
In all its formats, whatever formats you take. Lack thereof.
Correct. Lack
Simple as that.
Which
lack
is very,
thereof.
Yes. And that is very it's a very sad time, it's a very trying time. And so the next question is, do you need a lawyer in order to get divorced? And yeah, so I'll start there. Do you need a lawyer to get divorced?
The short answer is no. However, depending on the complications of what brought you together and what is happening as you go your separate ways, the ideal is to have an attorney. So you can start off on your own, but sometimes generally you don't put certain documents before the court, you don't say certain things. And then we reach that point where the judge says, listen, you absolutely need to get legal representation to go further. And then you are given an opportunity. And if you still choose not to have legal representation, the court will then say, okay, you fall on your own weight. So the short answer is no, but it is better.
And why is it better? What are some of the things? What are some of the areas that?
All right. But I'm seeing we have a question. Let me see. So just hold yours. Let's see if this is close to yours or if we should answer yours first. What are the benefits of being legally married as compared to, Mr. Ramkissoon? That's a nice question. So let me just I'll go back to you first, Mr. Paul. What was your question?
Why should we get a lawyer? You said we don't need one, but why is it advised that that somebody would,
So what I say, if somebody comes to me, a very, very basic situation, no children, so they were married at some point in time. They have no children. They don't have an insurance account together. They were renting. I went back to my mother's house, or he left me and went back wherever. He's out of the, there is nothing that they hold joint. There is no car that they bought together, nothing in his name that I contributed towards, which is rare, but you do have situations like that. And we have no children together, or even if we have children, we're so old now that the children beyond 18, 20, 25, there are no ties, almost like going for a US visa. You have no ties. So that is a straight, and then you don't want anything from the other person because you have nothing to get from them because you contributed nothing to his or her life. So in a situation like that, there's nothing for the court to be wrangling about, to be concerned about. And in situations like that, generally, parties go before the court and in 5 minutes that marriage is over. The decree nicely will be pronounced because there's nothing to hold them together.
Right, 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 right. What is but in the case of none, any or all or some of those things happening, the lawyer or somebody who understands, or the attorney would represent the, well, I would know the word as estate, but the
Mhm.
how the divvying up of things, correct?
What's that?
I said in terms of where there is things to divvy up, right? Are
Divvy
there
up.
any
That's the language now. Divvy up,
divvy
not
up, divvy
distribute.
up,
Divvy up.
distribute,
Okay. All right. Okay.
right? If there are things to distribute, what can be expected in terms of what the law says?
All right. So let's take an easy situation and then we will answer Miss Ramke soon, Mr. Ramke soon,
Right,
and then we go to Laurel. An easy
right.
situation. We have a car. The
Mm-hmm.
car is on Mr. McCasey's name,
Mm-hmm.
and we bought the car for $150,000, and I took a
Mm-hmm.
loan from Republic Bank for $100,000 for the
Mm-hmm.
purchase of that vehicle that is on Mr. Paul's name. I will go
Mm-hmm.
to court. I will fill certain documents. I will ask the court to recognize my contribution. And I will ask Mr. Paul to please reimburse me some percentage of that. Because let's say I gave you that $100,000 just about a month ago, and then we filed a divorce. I didn't have the benefit of that $100,000 that I invested into that
Mm-hmm.
car. So therefore, then I would want some compensation for what I put in.
Right, right.
And that's where,
Understood. And
or,
that's how they.
uh-huh,
Mm-hmm.
or
Go ahead.
like a matter I had this morning, a husband and wife both fighting for custody of the children. And you
Mm,
find court will send you to co-parenting counseling as the judge did this morning. She put them outside the room. Then she asked the attorneys, what really is the fight here? What is the issue? Why can't we do this? And, talk to the attorneys, then to go back to the clients and let's see how we could settle. Because I want the child, he wants the child. And so
wow.
therefore then that is a very, very emotionally draining battle that goes on in the court.
Correct.
All right,
Correct.
so let's go.
Let's look at. So I also have some private questions that people are messaging
All right,
back.
so let me just go first to Mr. Ramkisoon, and then we could come to your
Right.
questions. I see a comment from
Mm-hmm.
Laurel. All right, Mr. Ramkisoon asks, what are the benefits of being legally married as compared to a common law relationship? They are
Good.
a very important question. Up front, once you're married, you're almost automatically court expect you don't have to go to court to prove common law. So let me
Mm,
take it that way. And once you're in a common law relationship, you have to file certain documents before the court for the court to acknowledge that common law relationship. You have to
okay.
give the entire history. I met him on a carnival band. I met him while sitting at Woodford Square. He asked me to come to live in his house. Then we went to PriceSmart together. And this is the PriceSmart card in our names. And then we bought this fridge together. And this is the fridge. And this is the stove. And and then you have to tell the court, he introduced me as madam, this is my madam, that kind of thing. You have to tell the court all of that. Then you have to have at least two persons who knew that you were behaving as husband and wife, washing, they saw you washing, cooking, cleaning, holding hands, going down the road. And then a field investigator goes into the community and makes
Mm,
inquiries to find out if you all were really living together or if it was a visiting sexual relationship, etc. So the common law person has to prove to the court that you were what we call living together on a bona fide domestic basis. You must
mm,
cross that hurdle first before you seek to get anything that you would have invested in that situation.